Okay, Saturday, 21st of September 2024. So Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Psychology Saturday, understand yourself and others. Now, be vicious in a vicious world. Not naive. There's a very interesting concept in psychology, a bit controversial, I guess, I suspect, called the dark triad. Ooh, dark triad. Three kinds of personalities that are socially seen as negative and bad and all the rest. Narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Psychopathy, that's the one. So narcissism, narcissistic. Machiavellianism, manipulating people, deception, underhanded. And psychopathy, not empathizing with people, not seeing things from other people's points of view. And also, to some extent, rule breaking when it's most convenient to you and when no one else is looking. Now, those things exist. Those personality traits exist. Okay, now, we have to also understand that some would say that people are inherently bad, dark triad. Some people would say people are inherently good. You know, this thing restores faith in humanity. Those kind of things. Probably a bit of both, a spectrum. Depends on the scenario, context, people, places, so many different things. Fair enough. Now, then we have to be practical in life, down to earth, practical, survival. And then I say we have to be practical in a sense of we have to know when to be vicious and when not to be vicious. We have to know when to tap into our dark triad personalities and when not to tap into them. We have to know when to keep an eye out for these things. We have to know what red flags to look out for so we can avoid dangers, avoid problems, avoid pains. By being able to recognize these things, these traits in people, places, events, scenarios, situations, you name it, we can better circumvent those problems. We can better avoid those problems. We are being less naive, and that's important. We're not being naive because we recognize these things. We hope for the best in people, but we prepare for the worst in people. Practical, down to earth. Hope for the best. Oh, it would be nice and it would be polite and kind to them, but if they switch and they're nasty and vicious to you for whatever reason, be practical, down to earth. You know how to handle those kind of people, how to avoid them, how to de-escalate, how to escalate. Well, you tell me which way with the one that you want the scenario to go. What to do, when to do it, how to do it, who to contact, when to do this, when not to do that. All sorts of things. Very important things to consider. Because you see, we live in the world, reality. And not everyone is going to be nice, kind, polite, whatever else. People are going to be nasty, vicious, passive-aggressive, snidey, sarcastic, you name it. You name it. You know this as well as anyone else. Okay, the world is a dog-eat-dog world. That's just the way it is, looking at reality as it is. Not idealistically, but as it is. So we have to be ready and armed and be prepared to handle these situations. We have to get rid of as much naivety from our lives as possible, as much as possible. So when this situation happens, or that situation, or when it's critical moment, when it matters most, we know what to do. We have an ace up our sleeve. We know how to handle ourselves. We know what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say, this and that and that and this. We know how to massage the social situation so it never escalates in the first place. We know of that person. We know what signs to look out for in Machiavellianism, narcissism, psychopathy. We study these things. We understand them. You could even go as far as say foster those in ourselves, a bit humble bragging, to be narcissistic but humble at the same time. That's one example. We know when to be bombastic and when to be humble. That's powerful. We know those signs to look out for. Observing people, society, you name it, culture, looking for patterns. I've seen this behavior before. I've seen this before. I know what's going to happen here. I did a video about this in the past, about becoming the demon, in a sense of you understand the world so much you can predict the future. As in, I've seen this pattern of behavior before, this and that and that and this. So the chances are that's going to happen, and maybe that's going to happen, things like that. We just know. You could say it's life experience. experience, mileage, but recognizing the patterns and knowing what to do, knowing what not to do, knowing what not to do. So then I think, as a practical matter, then we want to eliminate as much naivety as possible in our lives. So then we can handle ourselves better in this world. Because again, hope for the best in people, but prepare for the worst. Be vicious in a vicious world. Know when to be vicious in a vicious world. Know when to be assertive, when to be fast, when to be mean, when to be lean, when to be clean. You name it. When to be kind, when to be blind. I'm just thinking of words now. But that's important. We need to get rid of as much naivety as possible. That way we are not led astray. We are not going to be... There are fewer chances of bad things happening to us. Let's keep it simple. That's important. And we can handle people. We know what to look out for. We recognize the red and green flags in people. This is good, that is bad. Things like that. It's very important that we know when and how to be vicious. Doesn't mean that we are vicious. No, it doesn't mean that we are vicious, but we can be. Because it's better to have that power and not need it than need it but not have it. That it's better to have the ability to recognize Machiavellianism or manipulation and avoid it, instead of being naive and just walking straight into it. In all kinds of contexts and situations and places in life, you name it, all kinds of places. That's important, not to be naive, but to be vicious. It's better to have that strength and not need it than need it but not have it. That's powerful, that's fundamental. And that, I think, will help in all kinds of aspects of life, in health, wealth, love and happiness, relationships, money, business, travel, you name it. It's better to err on the side of skepticism and caution than to just going almost blindly into the world and every person you talk to, and you just assume, you don't even think about it. You just, oh, they're a good guy, they're a good person, they have my best interest at heart, which is possible. Again, hope for the best, because this is why I say, is it people are inherently bad or good? Well, you go out there, you're going to find all kinds of people, and it depends on the context and age and situation. But you go into the world and you come across nice people, yeah, makes sense. And you're going to go into the world and come across nasty people, makes sense. For whatever reason, nature or nurture, which I think is a bit of even that's an interesting, there's another dimension to that question. I can't remember if I did a video about that or not. I have a hunch. I think so. But yeah, anyway. But that's important. Learn and understand when to be vicious in a vicious world. Hope for the best in people, prepare for the worst, and get rid of as much naivety, being naive as possible. Our very survival depends on it. Very important. But otherwise, Adrian's Daily Vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more. You will see me tomorrow.